All right, everybody, welcome back live at Drew's house. Another edition. Hope you're doing well. It is, can you believe it? It is mid-October in Newburyport. The fall is flying by. Winter will be here before we know it. We know how that depresses me, so we won't talk about it anymore. My guest today, Chris Webb. He owns the finest brewery downtown here at Newburyport Brewing Company. How are you, sir?
What's going on, Drew?
Good, man. How are things at the brewery? You doing good?
Yeah, life is good. Life is good. You know, it's fun to own a brewery. There are lots of great parts to it. It's tough. It's a challenging environment, but it's also really fun. And, we do live music 5 days a week. We're always having a good time.
Absolutely. What's the, this is a busy time for you with like Halloween coming in, right?
Yeah, we got Halloween's coming up, and so this weekend we actually have an Oktoberfest, which is super fun. Like 12-piece German Oompa band, like doing their thing. And we brewed a new fest beer, Oktoberfest beer.
Did you say 12-piece?
It's a 12-piece, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, all kinds of horns and like bagpipes and just the classic German Oktoberfest band is like a big horn band.
I mean, that's a good size stage you guys have. I mean, 12 pieces.
Well, we're putting we take the whole parking lot, the whole space over.
Oh, okay.
We put a big tent and a big stage, so it'll be.
So it's all the outside deals.
Yeah, when we do the big festivals. Yeah. And we're doing it to benefit Newburyport Youth Services, which is great, right?
Cool.
Just kind of like when you're a local business owner, you have a community that's so awesome like Newburyport, you always want to kind of be giving back and bringing families together. So
we've talked about that before, I know, but this I have like a lot of musicians that will come on and talk about like the charity work and all that, and like especially some of these indie musicians that probably could have went big and maybe like have decided to stay a little bit smaller, but a lot of them say like I just like doing it for like whether it be the charities or this foundation I'm a part of, like that is for you, that's kind of the deal, right? It's like if you're not giving back, something feels like empty about it, right?
I would say that's true. And, as a brewery owner, and I'm sure this is the case for lots of breweries and other businesses like that, I get requests all the time. Can you donate a gift card? Can you donate a gift basket? Can we, can we host an event at your brewery? And I always say yes. I always say, even if I don't know the person. And sometimes it's just like, here's a $50 gift card. Sometimes it's, here's a big swag bag with beer and gift cards and glassware, and sometimes it's you can have the event at the brewery and all that stuff. But I think it's just part of being a small business owner in a really cool town. It's sort of like they're buying the beer and I'm giving back in the ways that I can, and it feels good.
Beer tends to be a good swag thing, doesn't it?
Beer's a great swag thing. I like to say, Drew, we're in the business of making people happy.
Yes.
Right? So we're not just making beer. We're in the business of making people happy, which frees me and my business partner, Bill, to think about the business in a different way. Yeah. So what makes people happy? Well, certainly good quality locally brewed beer does, but and also really cool shirts and swag, but also live music, which we do 5 days a week, and Bill and I are musicians, so it's in our DNA. Having really good food and food trucks makes people happy. Doing big outdoor family-friendly events like we're doing this weekend with the Octoberfest and the We Newburyport Festival, which is relevant to Newburyport. We can talk about that too. Yeah. So, just thinking about the business in a different way, in a bigger way, frees us up to kind of be more innovative, as it were.
I don't think I ever asked you this, but is this like when you were, because I remember you talking about like how when you were starting the business, you decided, I can raise money this way, I can pull money in, and I can make this happen. This is how I can start my business, and we don't have to go down that road. But is this exactly like when you look back at it, however many years now, this is what you pictured? This is it. This is what you wanted? Are you still looking to grow more? Or?
I mean, everyone's always looking to grow, right? It's like Who Moved My Cheese is a great book. Who Moved My Cheese? Like if you're not paying attention, your cheese gets moved. So you're always looking to grow. You're always looking to innovate. We just did a new peach mango seltzer, right? So we're using real fruit, real cane sugar. We're getting in the seltzer game. Not that we're trying to compete with
everybody's doing seltzers,
right? But ours is going to be like really, really high end, not just like a whatever packaged 12-pack thing. It's like 4-pack pounders, and so we just did a Sandbar double IPA, which I brought in.
That's the one
I brought in to share. Can't drink it on the air, but you're welcome to take it home. Double IPA, 8%, delicious New England hazy IPA. So
beautiful can, by the way.
Thank you. Well, because the Sandbar, Plum Island, right? The backside of Cranes, like that's the idea. Is you've got this picture of a sandbar. We want people to be bringing themselves to that sandbar beach while they're having a really nice New England double IPA. So, but. To answer your question, is it living up to my expectations? It's exceeded them in terms of not just the growth and how much success we've had, but how happy it makes the community and how fun it is to, especially when we book bigger bands like the Samples or Sean Mullins or do these festivals, and you get hundreds of people coming together having a really good time, and it's just amazing. It feels really good to be a part of it and to give it back.
It's amazing too. There's like you get plenty of new faces. You meet people all the time, but there is like a kind of a core crew that says like, you know what, if I'm going out, I want to start there. Like I want to go see music there because you guys actually do the whole dedication to music thing. Like for people who have not been there, except for like maybe the occasional, if you want to put a Patriots game on, I think is your deal. But you're really dedicated to the music. It's not like you're going to the bar and there's TVs on and people are distracted. Like
That's right.
If you're going to see the band or your bartender or whatever, but you're there with a lot, not too many distractions.
That's exactly right. And it's the live experience, right? So you can hang out all day, bring your dog, bring your kids. There's no waitress or waiter going, hey, I got to flip this table. Community tables, everyone sits together. And we do music early. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, it's 6 o'clock to 9 p.m.
It's so
people are out of here, right? When you get to be old like me, you're like, all right, 9:30, 10 o'clock, I'm going home. Time for bed. And then Sundays we do 3 to 6. And we'll have the game on if it doesn't interfere with the music, but we're sensitive to, like, if you're a musician that we're paying to come and play and people are coming to see you and there's a 70-inch TV right next to you with the Patriots game on, like, I don't know, that feels a little disrespectful. So we mostly do music and it's less about that.
Do I get uncomfortable as a viewer in attendance if I'm at one of those places? Like, because I'll go to see friends of mine who are like special players. Like, God, he should be bigger. Like, right, unbelievable.
The Eric Whites of the world. For example.
Exactly.
Right.
Great.
Lee Biddle. Like, there's a bunch
example.
of locals.
And I'll be watching them. I'll be like, oh man, they put him like right in front of the Celtics game.
Right.
Like, why?
Why?
It's weird for me as a guy who goes to watch.
Stop it. Well, you know what? Most rooms aren't listening rooms, right? They hire someone to be the background and the entertainment. Our room, I think, is more of a listening room. Now, obviously, it's not like, like sitting at Johnny D's with Martin Sexton in 1996 and nobody's saying a word because you're just so captivated by his talent. People talk, but people clap, people listen, people are into it, people are engaged, and that's a big part of what we're all about.
And those guys are so, I mean, like for Eric White, I know you kind of turned me on to him back in the day, and he became one of my favorites too. A guy like that, though, can like take over a room in that kind of subtle way, but you've always talked about him because it's like he's one of those guys you do have to listen to. Like, I'll be in a room with Eric White, and maybe you'll hear people like talking at the table next to you, and you're like, oh, no, you're missing it.
Pay attention.
You're not getting it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, that reminds me of the story I think I told you too, which is like he plays an electric guitar by himself, which is unusual. Usually when it's one singer-songwriter, they have an acoustic. But he keeps the volume low on the electric. It's not like he's cranking out, he's not punching in the distortion pedal and doing a Guns N' Roses solo.
Right.
But it's just so nice. And he often does play kind of quietly. And it's like the story of my buddy was telling me when he's raising his 2 kids. He's like, I don't ever yell at my kids. When I get mad at them, I start to whisper. I said, what do you whisper? What are you doing? He's like, yeah, because then they move closer to me. They got to hear you. They walk in. Yeah, why is Dad talking so quietly? And then you can have a conversation, right? Yeah. You're responding, not reacting. When you're reacting and you're yelling, it's like people are going to shut you out or get defensive. So similarly to music, I think there's a good analogy there of like, if you go into a room that's a small room like the Newburyport Tap Room and turn it to 11, you're going to blow the room away and people are going to be annoyed it's too loud. And we've certainly had bands that do that. But if you go in and you're just kind of like quiet and subtle, but you're super talented and you're laying it down, people tend to kind of lean into that. Right?
Yeah. It's great. Is that has to be? I mean, to have your job. I mean, I know you have a family now, and you got a whole lot of stuff going on and all that from probably when you started. But I know you get to catch a lot of music over there. Is that one of the most rewarding parts of your gig? Is being able to just that guy just kind of blew me out of nowhere.
It really is. It really is. And we won best live music venue with the Newburyport Daily News. We get bands that. So there's a lot of bands. I didn't realize this, but we're part of like a SunCloud group, and we have a reputation now after 10 years as being a really good room for these musicians that do these self tours. Yeah. So coming up, like pretty much every month, there's someone coming up from Florida to Texas to New York to Philly, and they're just kind of like, hey, they're trying to make it, and they're in their van, and they're driving up from Philly, and they're going to stop in Boston. They're going to stop in Newburyport. They're maybe going to stop in Portsmouth, and they're heading to Portland. Yeah. And they're looking for like that intimate room where people are listening, where people care, and we pay our musicians. So it's pretty awesome, the level of talent. So we try to showcase all the best locals, but we do get touring musicians, and yeah, you're blown away by the level of talent of these people. It's like, oh my God.
Well, because one thing I've learned is musicians talk, right? I mean, it's like if you're a good room, and bands have a good experience, because I've learned that just from this show. It's like, people reach out to you like, hey, I hear, whoever so and so said it'd be a good spot for me, and that sort of thing. And it's like, if they appreciate it, and have a good experience, then they'll come back.
Yeah, that's right. In our room at the Newburyport Brewing Company is not like, we're not looking for the cover band playing like, We Will Rock You, right? We're kind of, it's fine if it's a theme night. Like actually this Friday we have a band called Neon 90s, and they're the ultimate 90s tribute band, and they're phenomenal at what they do. Like it's great, But normally we're looking for people that are not, coming in doing original music with some covers, but we're not looking for the singer-songwriter singing Country Roads. It's like it's just boring, Or I find it a little bit boring. And that's not who. That's just not
John Denver is right there on your left there. Be careful.
Oh man,
may he rest. In peace.
May he rest in peace. You know what song I heard? 2 mornings ago. I said, Alexa, play. I think I didn't say John Denver, but all of a sudden Annie's song came on.
Oh yeah.
I started crying, dude.
Beautiful song.
That is such a beautiful song. My wife's like, "Are you crying about your dad passing?" And I was just like, "No."
Yeah.
But yeah, John Denver. Yeah, he's special, man. He was something.
Yeah, he was. It's funny how you do have those moments. I know it's as you get older too. But like even old songs like that. Like I remember hearing that song when I was 5 years old. My dad playing it, but I was like, why does that strike you at that particular age?
That's right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's strange. Again, we're joined by Chris Webb, Newburyport Brewing Company. You guys do a good thing. I always like that every time I go into your place, because I've told you straight up, I actually don't drink that much beer. I like to. Yeah. I'll have like one or two when I go out, but I've never been a huge beer drinker, but I do like trying new ones, especially if you're going to a brewery and that's their thing. Right. And I love that you guys put the percentages on the board. Yeah, because for me, it's just something I want to know.
You got to know it, especially if you're driving. You're like, okay, I can have one or two. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's interesting, and I've always had good experiences. So one thing I've told you off the air, you talk about all the community stuff, and I wanted to make sure I say it on the air too. When you talk about giving back and all that stuff, my wife is still thanking you for allowing her to use your place she had to run the marathon during the October marathon, which just passed 1 year, the 1 year anniversary of that. That's crazy. Right. That was a year ago. Yeah. But she went all through the community and was trying. I said, Newburyport's kind of become my second home, and maybe some of these businesses would help out. And not only did everybody seem to help out that she went to, but you actually said, why don't you just use the place? Go do it. We already got a band that night. Don't even worry about bringing in music. And, it was great for us to host. We just can't thank you enough for that.
Yeah, happy to do it. And so that's what's easy for our place, because it's big enough to kind of have a group like your wife's and yours to say, hey, we're just going to take a section of the beer garden and we're going to have 30, 40, 50, 60 people, which is fine. But we don't have a room where people can actually rent, and people try to rent the whole thing, and then it's like, well, we can't really do that because you're open to the public. So when I get people that are friends or people I know are doing charity events and say, hey, can I just have a section? No charge, come on in, we'll throw you some swag to raffle off, have a few beers, we already got the band booked. It just adds more people to the fun all day long.
We had a great night. She'll never forget you.
Well, come on back and come every year.
We love it, man. It was a great crew. It's funny. It's actually one of those crews, unless you send out like a Facebook thing, that will probably, how those moments in life you just will never get that same group of people together again. Yeah. You ever think about that?
Absolutely.
I don't know. I guess I think about that with like my wedding too. Like, oh, you know what? That whole group of people will never be together again. It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird, and it's why it's so important to be in the moment. Yeah. And one of my mantras is, and I often forget it, right? Because I'm thinking about the future or worried about the past, is what can we create in this moment? Yeah. So if I have that, what can we create in this moment? I'm aware that this is a unique moment in time. You and I are sitting here having a conversation. How can we create it and make it special, have a bond, all that good stuff? Yeah, I definitely feel that way out of the pandemic too a little bit. Just like, breathe it in a little bit more, Live music shows I go to. Like I was going to your place before the pandemic to see live music. Yeah. But when that all went away, I was like, I definitely still took it for granted a little bit. Like not that much, but I knew it was a huge part of my life, but I took it for granted a little bit. Sure. Never will again. No, I think we took all of our lives for granted before the pandemic, right? Yeah. Everything was just like, this is the normal. Now it's a new normal, which is, you got to be careful still, and people are just getting back to work, but there's some good things, right? Like people work from home more. That's great. You see, like downtown Newburyport, Now every restaurant has a patio. It
Yeah.
happens to be a parking spot in the summer. That's fine. They block off the parking spots, and then there's more outdoor seating. That's a phenomenal. I was up in Portsmouth last week to see Jonathan Brooke, who's
Yep.
a great musician.
Great
one
music
of my
city, too,
favorites.
yeah.
And they same thing. Portsmouth's taken over some of the parking on Congress Street. It's like perfect.
Yeah. No, it's great. Yeah, I went up to the Music Lounge there a couple
That's
weeks
where you
ago.
were. the Music
that's
Lounge.
where I was. the
Phenomenal.
lunch. Yeah,
I'd never
cool.
been there. What a great room that is.
Small little place. Yeah.
Yeah.
I walked over to the bigger one before. Did you make that mistake?
Yes, I walked to the music hall. I'm like, why is nobody here?
All right, you did that too.
I totally did that.
Everybody must be doing that.
I thought the lounge, I figured, or the loft, I figured, it's just like a section of that. No, they took over another space right on Congress Street. Like, it's awesome.
No, it is great.
Super
It's
intimate.
all these great live music venues. And one thing we always talk about, again, final 2 minutes or so here with Chris Webb, Newburyport Brewing Company. One thing I always like, always tell me the story, it blows me off. I always thought you guys were all competing together, all the breweries. Like, I knew you were probably a little bit of friends, but I never thought you guys would like really help each other out. Tell me about breweries helping breweries, because I like that one.
Yeah, it's a good one because, like, I have a buddy that works at Smutty Nose that I've known as a high school buddy of mine. But even if I didn't, because we do it with Riverwalk, we do it with Smutty Nose, especially the ones that are super close. And yes, we were brewing our pale ale, and we were short a box of Cascade hops, and so emailed my friend, hey, can I come up and grab a box? Yeah, I just drove up, grabbed a box of hops, brought it back, brewed with it. Once our shipment came in the next week, drove back up, gave him a box. We've done growler cap exchanges. We're out of growler caps. Riverwalk comes in, we give them some, they give us some. Like,
and that's like your main. I mean, that's the other brewery in town.
That's the other brewery in
It
town,
is a
yeah.
competitor. Still.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But we're friends, and we, they're good guys, and they good beer. Like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the brewery community is just a different breed of people. There's great people. Everyone's, super happy. We're making beer. Like, why are we complaining about the world, And
But the idea of actually, I'm all out of these supplies. You have them. Can I take them from you for this weekend?
Yes.
That was mind blowing to me.
Yeah, it is mind blowing, and that's part of why it's so awesome to own a brewery and live in Newburyport, and just phenomenal.
You've had some big names over there at your place. Like Sean Mullins and these guys. How does this happen?
I reach out to their agents. I'm the CEO. I book all the bands. Like, you sort of do everything when you own a small business. But, again, like, I love getting local music, but it's really fun to try to get some of these national acts every once in a while.
Yeah.
So there's a few smaller agencies that book bands. And, Sean Mullins, I have a particular affinity for because my friend took guitar lessons from him down in Atlanta, 10 years ago, 20, more than that, 20 years ago. And I think I told you that story about, Sean was late for the guitar lesson, and he comes pulling in and, like, rushes in his house like, oh, I'm so sorry I'm late. And he's like, listen to this recording, and he pushes the recording, and it's like, boop. Hey, Sean, this is Joe from Columbia Records. I heard your song on WXRV. This is great. Boop. Hey, Sean, this is Bill from Atlantic Records. I heard your song. Boop.
And this was Rockabye, right?
He just come out with Rockabye Lullaby.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, this guy was on tour for 20 years, really, really trying to make it happen. He had pre-recorded this song. A bunch of DJs picked it up, which is like old school radio DJ like yourself, and played it. And all the, here's this guy who's spent his whole life. He was probably almost 40 when he got the deal. 20 years of just being on the road, and all of a sudden that one radio hit. So
Can you imagine that call?
Oh my God.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. Finally. And I said to him, so he's become a friend, and he's great. And I always say, keep going, man. I go, you're only one hit away from your next hit, Yeah. And so we just book bands. We've got the We Newburyport Festival this Sunday, which is all the creative juices of Newburyport. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say what's happening. So we got Octoberfest Saturday and Sunday, and this is raising money for the Salvation Army. So we're going to give them money to buy turkeys and food for people in need. But it's artists. We've got like 15 local musicians, food trucks, and then, of course, beer. So it's like kind of bringing together all the creative forces of Newburyport, and it's called the We Newburyport Festival this Sunday, October 16th. So we got a couple of really fun community, family-friendly events this weekend. Sort of getting the last 70-degree fall days, be outside, bring your
Forecast
dog.
looks good.
It's going to be gorgeous.
On this particular Thursday, forecast looks good.
That's right. Yeah.
Hopefully the weather holds out. You never know around here, though, man, right?
That's right.
And it's crazy. Well, Chris Webb, it is always a pleasure hanging with you, man. I know you are extremely busy, and we're catching you in a busy time of year, too. So I really appreciate it, making some time for us like you always do.
Yep.
It's very sweet of you to do. Thank you for all you do and for all the great charities out there. And one more thank you from my wife. Don't forget to tell Chris thank you again. I tell her I'm always going to mention it on the air, and then she goes, well, don't forget.
Anytime, Drew. It's great to see you. Great to be here.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
And go see any websites. Websites good for details for shows throughout the year or what?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, NBPTbrewing.com. Yep, that's where we are. So Newburyport Brewing, you can find us, and yeah.
Awesome. All right. Big thanks to Ryan Rothberg helping us out producing today, Sarah Blackstone directing the show, and Sarah Hayden in the house as well. Big thanks to Chris Webb for doing making some time out of his busy day, as always, here for the show. We appreciate it. You guys have a good weekend. That's the last show for the week. We will see you next time here, Joppa Afternoon Drive, live at Drew's house. Peace.